Artist Sessions. We are taking the opportunity during this social distancing to get to know some of our local Blacksburg artists just a little better through virtual interviews. And today we're going into the home studio of sculptor and author Larry Bechtel. Hi Larry, welcome.
Hello, I am Larry Bechtel. I'm an author and a sculptor living and working in Blacksburg, Virginia. I'm very grateful to the Blacksburg Museum and Cultural Foundation for this opportunity, and to Rhonda Morgan and Katie for arranging this. I'm so happy to welcome you all on this virtual tour to my studio. Let me introduce you to just two projects. The first of all, a book. So let me show you, guide you in here, and I will show you what I've been working on. I began 7 years ago at least. I began writing a novel about a slave of Thomas Jefferson named Isaac. So the very first book in that trilogy is this, A Partial Son. It was published in October. It's available on Amazon. And I am at present working with Earl Norris at Four Loud Barks Recording Studio in Blacksburg on an audio version of this book. So I hope that within a month and a half, or 2 months perhaps, that should be available. That book in turn led to book number 2, which is called That Dazzling Sun, and I just this morning turned in the proof, the pre-publication proof for this book, and it is due to be published in the 1st of August, if all goes well. And then finally, I am working now on the third book called A Slow Eclipse. And let me show you some of the materials that I've gathered together and that I am using to develop this book. First of all is this contemporary map of Philadelphia that is from the 1790s. And it's a street map here, and you can see all these little tags, different colored, and each one has a notable location so that I can orient myself, and I know exactly how Isaac is traveling through this area from spot to spot. I also developed a bird's eye schematic of the house in Philadelphia where he lived. He was apprenticed to be a tinsmith, so this is the tinsmith's house and yard. I sort of modeled this after a couple of visits to Williamsburg and also the Staunton Frontier Culture Museum. And then it has 3 floors, so each one is particularly and specifically designed with the furniture. It's a little like staging a play, so I can visualize where the furniture is and how they're moving throughout the house. I also developed a timeline. You can see it here. It's in 3 bars. So from here, from the 1780s all the way up into 1860, you've got events that are significant in the life of the United States and the city of Philadelphia. The second bar does the same thing, except this focuses on the personal life of Isaac Granger, the protagonist. And then the third bar here is events in the life of Thomas Jefferson from here all the way to his death. And that way I can coordinate, make sure that everything is, accurate. So that's been fun. Now we can, I'll also show you this board here. I'm posting the characters of the book, the significant characters, and kind of writing up descriptions of them. And then over here, this is my storyboard here. So beginning at this end and moving toward the end, you see the lot is going on in his life. And there are these scenes, each noted at each of these locations, and these coordinate with these little cue cards, you might call them, in which I identify the characters, the location, the time, and a brief description of the scene itself. and then I go to my word processor and develop that scene more fully. And I really am picturing the whole process as being like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. So, you know, the frame is the first part, and this storyline is like the frame, and then the scenes are like those collections of pieces that you're managing to put together. So I'm getting these scenes, and then gradually I start connecting them together. Now let me take you over here to my bench, my sculptural bench here. I did, as part of this whole project, the book actually began with sculptures. And this right here is a sculpture of Rachel Bringhouse, the daughter of the tinsmith. She becomes a very significant character in the book. She tutors Isaac. She teaches him to read and write. This is her sculpture here. And then if you can move over here, you will see I have this is in bronze. This is Thomas Jefferson. You probably recognize him. This is later in life, actually, when he was chartered the University of Virginia. And then finally, here is a sculpture of Isaac, my protagonist. This is based on a daguerreotype from the 1840s, and he was in his 60s at this point. So in the book, I picture him as this age, and then he's relating the story of this time as a youth, a boy of 15 initially, when he's going up to Philadelphia. So I constantly can consult Isaac, and you see that face of his so full of expression. And I actually tried to get a little bit of him as he might have been at 18 too. So these are the sculptures. Now we'll move back a little bit of ways into my sculptural bench. Here's my set of tools here. It's kind of portable. As you see, I put it together. It's my traveling kit. I go from place to place with it. Now, the thing that I've been doing that's most exciting for me of late as a sculptor has been being an artist in residence at the Carilion Medical Center of the New River Valley in Radford, Virginia. So I have, for about a year, been going out there twice a week for 4 hours a day. I trundle my little kit with clay and tools through the hospital, wherever I choose to go, the ER, the critical care unit, progressive care, surgical care, outpatients. I'll sometimes going down to the birthing center, wherever I feel called upon, and we'll visit with patients and do some clay with them. I usually go on a schedule down to the psychiatric unit, and there I will work with a group of patients, anywhere from 2 to 12, sit down for 45 minutes to an hour. Everyone has clay. We go through some exercises, and they do either individual or collaborative projects. So I found that all to be a great deal of that's been very fulfilling for me. Of course, it's all gone visual and virtual since early March. So we've been finding ways of taking advantage of that. I have been, therefore, doing some clay lessons and putting them online, and then sending them so that they can be made available to patients. And I'll give you just an example. I'm going through a process of teaching, starting with simple shapes. This is the whole thing. Teaching patients to use a cube, or a sphere rather, a square, a cylinder, and a pyramid, and then from that you can make almost anything. And we start out here, you can see a simple rabbit. So we take those simple forms, make them into a rabbit. We reform those simple shapes, and here you get closer and closer to a rabbit. So I have other lessons in mind as well, and I've enjoyed that quite a lot. I've also done I started cartooning. That was kind of the way I got into sculpture in the early 90s, and here's an example of a little cartoon here kind of a COVID-19. It's called Style in the Age of COVID-19. So this fellow's wearing a corona cap and a smiley surgical mask, as you can see. This period of time has been, challenging for all of us, and it's that peculiar balance we're all feeling between wanting to come back together, wanting to go to a restaurant, wanting to go to a movie theater, wanting to share time with friends in the backyard, having a picnic, things like that. And on the other hand, we feel like, well, we're being instructed to keep our distance and wanting to do that too. So we feel pulled together and then we feel pulled apart. And I've been struggling with how to depict that or symbolize that or conceive of that sculpturally. And it actually brought to mind this most recent of my bronze sculptures, and this is called Come With Me. But in a certain kind of way, it can be sort of a COVID-19 in that these characters, it's as if she is being pulled away from him, and he's reluctant to let go, but they're trying to hang on, but they're yet being pulled apart at the same time. So it seems to me there's something appropriately expressive about that now. So I think we have pretty much covered the ground, and I hope you have enjoyed this time with me. I hope you have an opportunity to come visit again. Please refer questions to Rhonda at the Blacksburg Museum and Cultural Foundation, and I look forward to seeing you again. I hope you are safe and stay well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry, and his wife, Ann, who was on the other side of the camera taking that video. We appreciate your time, and thank you for being here. If you want to know more about Larry and his work, we have a link to his website at the end of the video. And until next time, take care and stay safe and well.